Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to Oscar Mike, a new sister podcast to Hellblazer Biz, hosted by me, Chris Gordon. In this first episode of Oscar Mike, and it'll be my 180th for Hellblazer Biz, I have the honour and privilege of talking to a great guy. Spent 11 years, I think there's a SEAL, including 4 times in Afghanistan, awarded Silver Star and Purple Heart, and now the author of No Ordinary Dog. So I'm very, very proud to introduce Will Chesney. Hi, Will.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. And thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Stuff, yeah.
So, I mean, I've actually had the pleasure of reading your book as well, it's a fantastic book. Really is very well written, very engaging, and for people who I highly recommend, obviously, people to go and get it and read it. It's very emotionally charged as well, and obviously you can see that it's been written from the heart and from your experiences that you've had. One thing I noticed with you, Will, is that from a very, very early age, you had that specific ethic of no matter what gets thrown at you, without fail, you just get on and do it. And you can see that throughout the book, and that's how it's kind of, big beginning. So that's a hell of an ethic to have from a very early age.
You just got to find out what you want in life and go after it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I was very fortunate to find that job. I wanted to be a SEAL. That's what I was driven to do. And I would have done it for free, pretty much. And it was a great job. So that was pretty much the driving force. And while I was a SEAL, I found other little jobs to do that I was drawn towards. So yeah, I was very fortunate.
That's fantastic. And I mean, yeah, one of the quotes I'll be quoting anyways. If you want something badly enough, devote every ounce of energy and focus to making it happen. No bullshit, no excuses. And that's a great quote. I wish I could have stuck to that myself, because unlike you, I've got to say I failed in my early life.
Everybody fails.
I'm doing this. I'm chatting to someone who, like yourself, who's a very inspirational person. So,
Sure.
Can't be doing too bad. So obviously with your book, Will, as well, starting at the big, I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but obviously I've read SEALs accounts before. I've seen accounts of SEALs and buds. Oh my God, your description of it is absolutely, I'm reading it and I was sweating just reading, about all the actual effort that goes into it. And like you say, it's not about physical ability, because I guess you can be as physical as you like. It's all up there, isn't it?
A lot of it's mental too. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
There's great athletes, but you have to mentally want it. Like I said, you got to find that thing. It was that thing that I really wanted to do in life, and I would have. To be a SEAL, you have to. You can't just have that job. It's to be like you have to be willing to like lay down your life for your brother. It's that kind of job. So you have to prove that you want to be there. It's not like I just want to be a SEAL just to say I'm a SEAL. So in order to be there, you have to prove it, and they make you earn it. That's for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a show over here in the UK. It's very much like us. I mean, you guys, the SEALs, I'd say probably the same sort of line as like SAS, SBS over here. More probably the SBS, because you're the waterborne. Which the SAS don't really do as much. So
yeah, you guys are awesome. Love those guys.
They are a great bunch. There's some great ones out. They do a show as well now called Who Dares Wins, and it's they bring people on and they take them through very watered down selection, so like SAS, SBS selection. So it's a lot similar to Buds, where they really beast the hell out of these people, and just to see if they could make it and bring out all the and it's a brilliant show to watch, because it really draws the inner spirit. And it's like you just said, it's the physical, because you've got to be physically able to do it, but it's the mental side as well, and just see if they can mentally push themselves to just ignore what everyone's having to go, shouting, screaming at them, and just say, right, screw you, I'm doing this.
Good way to test and see what kind of person you are when things get a little tough. Yeah, it's those places are pretty cool. There's some here as well. There's some SEAL places you can go to like that. Yeah.
Are there? Oh, cool. I wouldn't mind. I'd love to do one. I need to get myself a lot of fun. I'm working on my fitness, so I do plan when I've got it done that I want to try and do something like that, because I think it'll be a real test of inner strength.
My buddy Ray Care does that kind of stuff. We'll get you hooked up with that. And then, if you're looking at your diet, you try intermittent fasting.
Sorry, have I tried fasting?
Intermittent fasting or fasting?
No, I haven't tried the intermittent one. No.
I would try one of those too and see if that helps it.
All right. I've tried so many different things. I've actually, it's weird. I'm not going to go into it, but yeah, I did wrestling for at the age of 38. I took up pro wrestling, and that was, I was the fittest in my life. So I'd love to. I had an injury, and it was like, excuses. That's all you're hearing.
We all have our injuries too.
Oh, I know you have, yeah.
So.
Mine was stupid, but never mind. And I mean, obviously going through Spuds as well, like, gave you that insight of obviously pushing yourself further and further on. It's what you wanted to do from an early age. I mean, there's things like you described the log run as well. I know that our guys still do that. I think the SEALs brought it over, didn't you? You said from World War II, from the commando raids and things like that.
Yeah, a lot of people use those. Yeah, it was a good way to instill some teamwork.
Yeah.
So not pulling their own weight. I'm like, okay, kind of pick out who's sucking. You know, if you're not working together as a team, you can really get somebody hurt with that.
Exactly. And like you said, I think you mentioned in your book, isn't it? When one person goes down injured, the rest of you, obviously, if you feel sorry for the guy or who's quit, you feel sorry for that person because you can hear the bell going. But then you're still a bit pissed off with yourself because now there's only like 5 of you left to carry it.
The short person. You just hope that guy didn't quit in the beginning, because then they're just short. If you had 6 guys quit in the beginning, now you're stuck with 5 guys. Thanks, dude.
Exactly. Yeah.
You could have quit before we started.
Yeah, exactly. So you could have got that extra 6 person. And I mean, scuba. I mean, there's other stories like scuba gear, the push-ups in full scuba gear. I've actually tried that. I will say I was in the officer training corps and I learned to scuba dive in Cyprus. And when I read that, it just instilled this little memory flashback of having to do, but I didn't probably nowhere near as many as you guys had to do, but we had to do, I think it was only like 50 push-ups in scuba gear.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Oh my God. It was good. We did it, but wow, it's difficult because that stuff in the water is great, but when you're out of the water, it's just like.
Yeah, well, weighted, just like weighted push-ups. By that time, we were in pretty good shape. First phase, they get you in pretty good shape. Second phase, it's the same stuff. They put weight on you now with the tanks.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I ran out of air as well. I think again, we did the switching the mouthpieces over. Yeah, so I think it's quite scary when you're down there. So you've got nothing but respect for you guys. I really have.
Yeah, that buddy breathing can be, especially if you're doing it at night.
Yeah, I remember it's San Diego Bay. You guys had to do it in at night.
I went a little diving in San Diego Bay.
Yeah,
I did a whole lot of fun dives in. I'm trying to get fun dives in these days. Try to go down to the Keys.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend goes anywhere nice, but I haven't done too many fun dives. A bunch of work dives.
Yeah,
most night.
Yeah, in secret. Yeah. No, it's good. It's great. So I did a one-night dive down here once and it was a big conger eels. Conger eels, horrible things. They weren't nasty or violent, but obviously at dark they suddenly appear and you're like, you really do.
Pretty quick, huh?
Yeah, the bubbles going up weren't just from the air, from your mask.
Yeah, those things are scary.
Cool. And obviously moving on, as you went through, obviously you got through Buzz, you succeeded through all of that with aplomb, with great, great gusto and great spirit to get through it. And it wasn't just a SEAL you became, it was, you then became obviously the best.
All SEALs are awesome. It's just another place that you can choose to go to or not go to. It takes a lot to do as well, but no, all SEALs are great. There's some great guys that just don't want to go. So, but
that's fair enough. And I apologise. I didn't mean to say that the other SEALs aren't good enough. Because you're right. No, every SEAL is brilliant. All the different teams, they all specialise in different areas as well, which is what's important. Is that if I believe? I don't know much about the SEALs because there's so much which you do know, which you see, and then you don't know if it's true or not. So
things are always changing too. So some things aren't true anymore. Yeah.
I mean, excellent. I mean, when you went out there, one of the stories I noted, I think it was the first time you'd experienced, because you became introduced to the dogs and the canines, and obviously the working dogs and service dogs out there. And again, it's not something I knew about originally. Obviously, got into it a few years ago, started reading about them, how brave these were, and every time, I'm a huge animal lover, by the way, Will, as well. So I love dogs, I love cats, but yeah, the dogs are just certainly the best friend, and so immediately drew into that experience with yourself as well. And I think it was you met Balto and Falco, obviously, and then sadly Falco was killed in the line of action as well, and it was quite heart-wrenching to read, because I think that was one of your first. They were your first real main introductions to service dogs, but you even then you got a really good bond with those guys as well, and it was just I can't admit not having a lump in the back of my throat when reading that. In fact, I did pretty much through most of the rest of the book was with experience, and I can only just feel how that must have been to experience.
Yeah, these dogs do amazing things for us. They lay down their lives for us. A good friend of mine, Jimmy Hatch, posted Falco the other day on Instagram just to get for Memorial Day weekend, just to kind of show.
Oh, did he?
I mean, he's a great man, and he wrote a good description of why, because it's people don't really know what these dogs do, but yeah, Falco he laid down his life for us. Cairo got shot, kind of in the same situation, and these are just our story. There's so many dogs that do this, and a lot of people don't realize it. There's even police canines on line of duty all the time, and then this dog. Everybody loves their animals, right? Whether it's dogs, cats, and this is just a good story. They can kind of bring attention to what these animals can do. Military dogs, police dogs, service dogs, cadaver dogs. These dogs, they can do some amazing things. And it's like a Navy SEAL Marley in me. People really do enjoy it. It's a piece of history, and it just brings attention to what these amazing dogs can do sometimes.
Definitely. Yeah, you're right. These dogs, they go, and I love the fact that you guys and in the military, you recognise as well, because obviously when one has obviously given everything it's got for the line of duty, if I put it in that terminology, he's one of the team, and that was part of your book. You really expressed that and pushed that across. Is they're not a dog, they are a team member. He goes, you've got that, you've got your SEAL team. And the dog is an integral part of that SEAL team, and every single member of the team knows it as well. And there's
everybody on the team, that was my family. I had my family back home, and then that was my other family. And, the dogs, they're a big part of that family. We don't just treat them as dogs. They, we said we asked them to do a lot for us, and they really are amazing. So we treat them. They're part of the family. When Cairo was shot, we treated him just like any one of us would have been shot. My guys worked on him, saved his life. The helicopter pilots risked their lives flying in to pick him up. Surgeons on base, because there wasn't any veterinarians. So actually surgeons, they could have said, it's just a dog. No, they treated him just like a soldier. I mean, everybody. Even the rehab people, they rehabbed him in Texas, and they got him back to working full capacity. It was just, it's good stuff. We treat him just like family.
Definitely, and I say I read that and I was just like, I couldn't believe that, especially don't it wasn't believable, but I was just like the like you say, the respect that everyone, even surgeons, surgeons, like you said, operate on humans, not dogs. They were just didn't even bat an eyelid, straight down to help Cairo.
Everybody helps save life, and then if they do, like Falco, unfortunately pass away, they're treated just like any member. We have service for them, memorial service. Their name goes up in the team room. We even have a special place for them at the command, a memorial wall for them. So they're important to us.
Yeah, definitely. That is really, really sweet. I've actually spoken to another dog handler before as well on SEAL. I don't know if you ever get to watch SEAL Team. I've spoke to Justin Melnick, who's with Dieter.
Yeah.
He's been on the show.
They're great. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good, and I was actually really shocked to find out he is a real life, because he was a police handler, wasn't he? I think he's a police handler, or he is. He still works.
Yeah.
So Dieter's a working dog.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, they're both officers.
Yeah, definitely.
Good thought.
It's brilliant. So, all right, I'll ask you that off the fly then. From someone who's there doing it for real, goes, how do you see that depiction going across? Obviously, he's got the extra experience. He is a serving dog handling officer, and so how do you see? How do you see that?
I think I probably need to watch a little bit more. It's been a while since I don't watch too much TV sometimes. But I've watched a few episodes. He does a great job. Yeah.
Cool.
There's good people on the show. I think working. They know their stuff.
Yeah, I think they've got about 300 people who are ex-servicemen on that show.
Yeah, they got a great group of guys working on that show.
Cool. Obviously, as going through it yourself, there was a lot going on there, and you served a hell of a long time. 12 years you served, or 11 years as a SEAL, wasn't it? And it was
13 years
yeah,
total.
13 years total, 11 years as a SEAL. I couldn't get my numbers right then, so. Which is, again, huge respect there, and obviously you've got the big mission, which is obviously the most famous mission that SEALs have done in your history. It's the biggest one, and I got to that part of the book, and it was just, I mean, I was expecting that to come anyway. But to be fair, I was actually more interested in your relationship with Cairo, which is what the book does come out more with, because you treat everything with this respect that it deserves in every part of the mission. Obviously, the Bin Laden raid must have been surreal, very for you and for everyone on that team. Just to realize that that's what happened. That's who you've got. I mean, you explained when you're in. I've forgotten his name. Rob. I think it was Rob came down and you had that conversation with Rob on the alley. It's just like, yeah. It goes like that.
Yeah. But that's the only thing that people know Cairo for. It was because of the big mission. But there's so much more to him than that, and like he covers my beginnings, my childhood, his beginnings, and there's so much more to Cairo than just that one thing. That was just one thing we were fortunate enough to do.
Exactly.
And I say I could have been easily replaced on that team. There were so many good guys on that team that I got to work with, but Cairo was special. He wasn't so easily replaceable. We had good dogs on the team, but we didn't have as many good dogs,
Yeah, I think I got that as well, because that's what the book, obviously No Ordinary Dog, does so well. It shows us, like you say, because everyone knows Cairo for that one mission, but when you actually do read it, you see how much of a special bond he's had with not just yourself, but everyone he met and everyone he worked with. He had that side of him. And like you say, with the working dog, obviously the way they're raised, and obviously that's what they're raised to bite, or and to go for people. But you said always Cairo did have that other side to him, which not all working dogs do have, the little playful side. And it was just so sweet to see when you used to go and visit and stuff like this, and he'll just come and he'll give you those little nuzzles and reassuring nuzzling and stuff like that. It was just very nice to see that there was that side. And that there was so much more to him than like you say. There's just that one mission he did. He did lots of missions, and he saved guys a lot. He was shot.
Yeah. So but he was good. Not all the dogs that we have had the switch. What we like to say, you put on the vest, they turn it on, and they go to work. And all the dogs we had were great workers, right? That's why they were there. They go through like a selection process, just like us. And if they don't work out, they go somewhere where they will. All the dogs are great workers. But Cairo had when he took the vest off, he could turn the switch off, and he was, we always treat the dogs with respect. They're working animals. People should always treat any dog with respect. But he was almost like, like a family dog. Even when we had him retired, he would be on the couch with my buddy's kids on his back. He never had to worry about. I mean, not all the dogs have that. We ask dogs to do a lot. They are attack dogs that go and fight things twice their size in dark rooms with gunfire and explosions, and they skydive. These are working animals. These, you always treat them with respect. But some of these dogs have the ability to turn it on and off. Some of the dogs can turn it off completely. Some dogs are just too high. They're people. They're people. Dogs are different. Everybody has different personalities.
Yeah.
Some dogs are just a little more high strung, and they need to be more cautious. Cairo could really take that switch, and he could turn it off. He was even attacked by my girlfriend's mom's bulldog.
I know, that's right.
Yeah,
he just walked off.
Didn't do anything. Not a lot of dogs will do that. So
no,
he was a special pup. Yeah,
he was. Yeah, I love the description of that. It was just like he looked down, so it's not worth it. Carry,
He was no ordinary dog.
He was, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's brilliant. I also laughed, obviously, when you met the president at the time as well, and the description around there of like you did of what would have happened. Yeah, you just had to muzzle him just in case. Yeah.
Great honor. I did never have to throw a muzzle on him. I knew he would have never done anything.
Yeah. You just always got that little thing of maybe what this situation was very different to what he's used to, wasn't it? So
somebody steps on his tail, he never, or something. Even when people have stepped on him before and he didn't really do anything, but you just never know. So I might have been fired on that one. So
excellent. And obviously, you yourself got injured as well, and more more than you thought you had, I think, at the time. Because obviously when you got the grenade shrapnel through you, but that also affected as well. And it's, that's, I think that's triggered emotional responses as well, which um, which I think just led to various ailments and various, and obviously migraines and things like that. I don't want to go into it too much because I don't want to bring up that for you. But obviously, it did go into, obviously, that's that period for you. It's where you met Natalie as well, and so Natalie and Cairo both sort of, I think, became a rock for you. But Cairo especially, because that battle, I think, that you had. Well, I'm not going to knock Natalie, by the way. Natalie is, she's been she's been a rock as well. But I'm saying, with Cairo, that bond, that battle you had to get Cairo out, I couldn't believe how much bureaucracy there was for you to actually, when you actually finally managed to get him, and with what you were going through yourself, that must have been a big struggle to actually, have to put up with the Navy. As far as they're good, because obviously I'm not going to knock the Navy again. It's part of what they have to do in the paperwork to make sure everything's correct, but that was a long process for when you signed to say you wanted to get Cairo to when you actually were able to bring him home.
It worked out kind of be good timing. So yeah, the Navy does have to do their proper paperwork because these are working dogs. Not all the dogs are the same. Some of the dogs can't go to certain families or it's going to be a bad situation. So all the dogs are screened. So they put in the paperwork, and sometimes the military can take a while to do paperwork, but they put in their due diligence. They have to, they can't send a dog to a wrong family. But I was going through my medical process as well. I was blown up in 2012 by a grenade. I think a lot of other things, a lot of accumulative blasts over the years, and self-medicating with alcohol and other things. I was in a very bad place. But my teammates really cared about me. Like I said, we're one big family. I had great leadership that put me through the proper medical things. And Natalie, I just started to meet her. She was definitely there for me. And since I was going through all my medical appointments and I wasn't actively working, I was able to take Cairo home. The people in saw that I was able to take care of him. If I was still working as a SEAL, they probably wouldn't have given him to me.
Because you would never be home. Yeah.
So it worked out good. And then having him home was obviously really good for my health. It was good to be able to, we both took care of him towards the end of his life. And he had a pretty rough end. So it was good to be able to be there for him. And he definitely helped me get through some hard times as well, for sure.
Definitely. And yeah, I mean, I saw obviously that part of it as well. And it was interesting to see how he had PTSD as well, obviously with thunderclaps and stuff as well. It's heartbreaking to see, but again, it draws you right in to show people, and that's what No Ordinary Dog does. It just shows how dogs have their own personalities, and they can be affected by this kind of thing afterwards. And you've got to be like you did. You've got to care for them in just the right way. And I think with both of you guys, it came on. I mean, we've got a guy over here. He's called Foxy. He's ex-SBS, and I've listened to those books because they talk about their depression. It's it's a good thing to come out with now, I think, and you've expressed it well in your book, and I appreciate how difficult it must have been to obviously write about those things. And I know the guys over here, there seems to be a lot more support for people now, and especially with the brain injury that you had, that's something that's finally got recognised. I believe, or getting recognised. I believe that the concussion, when you're exposed to so many the CTE, you're exposed to all that kind of concussion, and it can and like explosions, it does have an effect on people as well. And it's very
in NFL players, the traumatic brain injury is a real thing. I think it was a lot of accumulative blasts, a lot of a lot of explosions, all that overpressure, a lot of rockets, hard hits to the head. Not the only, they're starting to see it in football players too, but definitely was part of it. The loss of friends was not the easiest thing. That takes its toll. You deal with that in certain ways, but I think all of it added up together to, but there's great people out there that have helped me, but it wasn't easy to tell my story, but I wanted to tell Cairo's story. It was an honor to be able to work with the guys. It was an honor to be able to work with Cairo. It's a piece of history. It tells his story. It brings attention to what these dogs can do. Some of the great foundations, like the Warrior Dog Foundation, Spike's Canine Fund, Rescue 22, all those guys doing great things for these working dogs. And then, if I'm going to take that responsibility, I can tell a little bit of my personal story as well. And if it helps somebody, then hey, that's great. I know there's some guys suffering out there. The transitioning out of the military is not easy. It's rough. traumatic brain injury, that stuff gets really rough too. I mean, it's your brain, so it's hard to try to figure out what's going on sometimes. But there's good people out there. There's good foundations that'll help you. Good treatment centers. Good. I went through the Brain Treatment Foundation. That lady was awesome, Kara Williams. She helped me out quite a bit. But that was my first step on a lot of other things that have helped me too. Just breathing and meditating, fasting, yoga. Can be, everybody's different. Everything's going to be. I try to stay away from the medications these days and try more like natural CBD or essential oils. Kind of, that sound too hippie-ish, but I'm trying to. Some of these modalities work. If I can bring attention to some of these modalities and help people, cool.
Oh, definitely. I think the meditation and yoga is good because I suffered depression as well for a certain time in my life. It does come back. It's not something that you get away with as well. It does come back, but I don't like taking the medication either. I mean, I remember getting pills from the doctor, and I threw them away because I actually looked at the side effects, and the side effects were that it could cause cause self-harm and suicidal thoughts. And I was like, that's kind of not the point of a drug to go. And I was like, if that's the way to go. I was like, no, there's got to be I thought there's got to be another way. So I like you, I took up yoga and things like that and meditation and found that was a very, very good way to just like try and get over it.
Every morning, at least 10 minutes, I get out there and I breathe and pray and stretch or meditate, whatever you want to call it. But I get out there in 10 minutes at least, if not like an hour. It's something.
Yeah, I think they call it mindfulness over here. I'm not sure if you've got it over there.
Whatever you want to call it.
But yeah, it's good. Anyway, it's good. And as I say, the book itself, An Ordinary Dog, as I say, the whole concept of the book is a fantastic one, and I'm very, very glad I've read it. And I'm very glad you managed. You found it in you to actually write about Cairo's story and say this is, we want him. He is no ordinary dog. We need to push him out, get his story out there because he was. 1 in a million. He was, there are lots and lots of working dogs, but yeah, Cairo was something special. He was famous for one mission, but now he'll be famous for a lot more and famous for who he really was, I think. Right.
Yep, it's an honor to tell his story. And there's a lot of dogs that we work with. I mean, we're a small part of a big group of amazing guys and other dogs too, and there's other people out there with amazing dog stories to tell too. And yeah, but Cairo we did a really good job putting together his book, and working with Joe Layden made things a little bit easier. So everybody seems to be loving it. Everybody really does. It was very important to me to tell it right. You only get one shot, and the feedback has been really good so far. So
excellent. I do know I've got a friend. I spoke to a friend last week where I work, and I did ask her and mentioned it to her because she was looking for new books. I said, "Get No Ordinary Dog," and I said, "Read that." And I got a message only this morning saying, "Oh my God, I can't put this down." Because she can't stop either. She's been reading it and constantly, and just not been able to put it down either because it's just. Like I said before, it really pulls you into the story, not just of yourself, but of Cairo and other working dogs, because you do go into it and obviously mention how they all train but Cairo shines brightly.
He's a good boy. He really was special. Yeah.
Cool. Before I close the recording of this, Will, is there anything you'd like to say to people who are watching, or anything that you'd like to carry on? So I'll say that I've not.
No, I just hope everybody's up there is doing well. And again, I really do appreciate the good feedback. I can't say that enough. It's a very important piece of history, and I love Cairo and all the guys. So it's good to hear the good feedback that we did a good job.
Zweifelst. Du wägst die Vor- und Nachteile ab. Was gibst du auf?